Welcome to Judicial Dollars and Cents, brought to you by Anders Virtual CFO Services team from all across the United States. I'm John Scott, and in each episode, we'll shine a light on the financial side of the legal world, turning law firm numbers into impact-driven stories. From taxes and profitability to practice growth and leadership, we sit down with law firm innovators who are shaping the future of the profession. Let's dive in, right here on Judicial Dollars and Cents. Welcome back to Judicial Dollars and Cents, where the business of law meets the practice of law. I'm John Scott with Anders Virtual CFO Services for law firms, and each week we sit down with successful attorneys, legal innovators, and business leaders to explore what it really takes to build a thriving law firm. We go beyond the courtroom to discuss leadership, profitability, operations, marketing, technology, AI, and strategies that help firms grow, scale, and create lasting value. Whether you're a managing partner, an emerging firm leader or owner, or someone passionate about the future of the legal profession, our goal is to provide practical insights that you can put to work immediately. Today, we are excited to welcome Erin Lee. Erin Lee is the founder and owner of the law offices of Erin J. Lee, PC, and it's an immigration firm serving clients throughout California and across the United States. She focuses exclusively on immigration law, helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate one of the most complex legal areas of the legal system. Her practice includes family-based immigration, deportation defense, naturalization and citizenship, asylum, waivers, and employment-based immigration. Erin earned her Juris Doctorate degree from the University of San Diego School of Law after receiving an undergraduate degree from the University of California, San Diego. Before opening her own practice, she gained extensive experience handling removal defense and complex immigration matters with an established immigration firm. She's fluent in both Spanish and Korean, and she's built a practice dedicated to serving a diverse community and ensuring that clients understand every step of the immigration process. Erin, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. We're heading into a holiday weekend, so are you working tomorrow?
Nope, we are off.
We are off as well. So when we're done with this, I'm going to head out.
Good for you.
I love to hear people's origin stories. So tell me about what brought you to immigration law.
Sure. It's kind of a funny story because I actually never thought about practicing immigration law. I graduated law school during the, an economic downturn. So it was hard to find a job at the time. And I was really interested in real estate law, funny enough. So I actually put on my resume that I spoke Spanish, and this was based on my high school level Spanish that I learned. And I got an interview. And so I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it all out. I'll figure out the Spanish. I'll figure out the immigration law part. I'll do it. And I got the job. And I learned Spanish. I learned immigration law, and I just got running, sink or swim.
Sometimes you have to fake it before you know it. That's awesome.
Exactly. So yeah, and then I got in there, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I really like it. So I stayed.
My daughter is an attorney, and she went to Washington University here in St. Louis, which is a decent law school.
Yeah.
But before she went to law school, she spent about 18 months in Spain, and she had a Spanish major. So she was teaching English to students over there. And she's got a full lion's head mane of hair, blonde hair, and she got lice from one of her students. So the essay that she wrote for entrance into WashU was about her experience in trying to get medical treatment at the pharmacia for having lice. And I don't know if that got her in because it's very competitive to get in, but it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Hey, so tell me about your practice. And all lawyers are in two camps when it comes to AI. There's the camp that thinks it's the death of the profession, and there's the camp that is embracing it. Where do you stand on that spectrum, and are you using AI, and how?
I am definitely on the embrace camp. I think if you think about it in the context of, is it going to do my legal work for me. I think the absolute, the answer, I could see why people are a little bit concerned. Like, okay, it could spit out a letter for you in 10 seconds. But can I send it as is? No. It still takes a human to review it to make sure if there's anything legal in there. Of course, you have to make sure it's correct before you even file anything or send anything out to a client, all of that. But it's a good place to start, right? But I don't usually use it much in the legal context. I like to talk to it regarding sales, marketing, ideas on how to respond to clients, how to respond to employees. It's more of a support to kind of get me thinking in a certain direction. It's definitely not my, end all be all. It's kind of it's a discussion, like I said, that I have with AI to kind of help me think through things.
I love those use cases because it's helping you take care of some situations that aren't necessarily legal, but it's freeing you up to focus on client service and doing a
Exactly.
higher level of client service.
Exactly.
So I spoke to a law firm, I don't know, 2 months ago, and in 24, they had done $7 million worth of legal work. In 25, they did 12. And they really thought in 26, they would hit 20 million. They just thought that trajectory would take off forever. And in 26, intake calls fell off the table. And we talk about politics and immigration so intertwined. It's such a big topic today. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about immigration work and getting citizenship or legal status? Can you separate the politics from reality?
100%. Of course, it affects our work on a daily basis. However, I personally believe that's our job as an attorney to, dip and pivot as we need. That's our job. If they change things the government changes things on us, which it happens all the time, right? Immigration law happens all the time, whether or not it's this administration or the last, things change. And we just have to kind of keep moving, keep pivoting. And the biggest misconception is that, everything is being denied or everything is stuck. And sure, some things are getting a little bit more difficult and some things are stuck, but we're seeing approvals all the time. I think it's that fear of, the misconception and the fear of, I'll just wait, I'll just wait until the next administration. But yeah.
And I think that was when we diagnosed what was going on with the firm that went from 7 to 12 and thought they'd hit 20, but they're not going to even hit 12 this year, was their interpretation was that clients had a fear of even applying at this point, because then you're raising your hand and saying, here I am. So, what with the Supreme Court decision that came out, and it was yesterday or the day before, about birthright citizenship, how is that going to affect your client base, or will it?
Not for me. We talk to clients not in the sense of, can we win your case? We talk to our clients in the sense of, do you want this or not? Do you want to try? Do you want to wait? Or do you want to do it now? Because we don't know what it's going to look like into next in this administration, what that's going to look like. Maybe it's going to be worse. And do you even have the time to wait? Are you exposed now? Right? Let's talk about the situation now. What is this going to bring you? So we kind of have a larger view conversation with our PNCs.
So a large part of your practices focuses on family reunification. What are some of the biggest challenges that families face when they bring loved ones into the United States legally?
That's a good question, because that is such our mission, is to help immigrant families not only just get legal status, but also build their lives in the US in the long term. And what does that entail? Getting an apartment. How do I get a job? What's What's financial literacy? What's credit? How do I get my kids into college? All those things are so important. And so we try to walk our clients through that after they arrive, right? Like they got their legal status, great. Okay, like for example, next month we're having a workshop for parents on how to be prepared for their children to apply for college. So these kind of longer term, in the long term, how to best be prepared to help the next generation, right? Green card is a green card, but how can we further and build your lives here in the US? So we do our best to give our clients the resources they need to be able to do that.
I love that holistic approach. And a couple years ago on NPR, there was a story of a northern U.S. city that was on the Canadian border, and this town was dying. And this exemplifies how badly we need immigration to work, because this town was running out of people. So they put together a committee that wanted to attract 200 immigrants so that they could have people to work in the town and prosper and have housing. But they also had to put together, as part of this committee, how do we educate the children? How do we provide housing for these people? And all the rest of the social network that has to happen to bring 200 people into a community. I mean, they essentially doubled their size. And if we could replicate that in every small town around the US, or even the bigger cities, in St. Louis, we have a large Bosnian community that's been here 20 plus years. And they have been great for the community. So we just need to look at immigration through a different lens.
Right.
Let's switch gears. Let's switch gears a little bit. Do you use a case management system?
I do.
Which one do you use?
I use DocketWise.
Okay. And why did you pick that system, and what do you think is the best feature of it?
So I chose that system because it's immigration law specific. So it's good for forms. I don't think, I mean, of course, every management system has its pros and cons. This one, definitely the pros are the forms, the notes. We use it for the tasking system as well. But we have a separate CRM, so a relations manager. So we use HubSpot for just the client relationship management.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So many businesses rely on employment-based immigration to fill critical roles, not just technical roles, but other roles as well.
Mm-hmm.
How has that landscape changed over time, and even more recently over time?
Well, one can argue that there hasn't been enough change, and there has been change, right? So so there hasn't been enough change in terms of being able to sponsor employees. The system itself is archaic. But recently, yes, we've seen more challenges, more requests for more evidence, more aggressive, like notices of intent to deny, without properly, I think, considering the factors that we presented in our initial application. So just a little bit more scrutiny in that sense is what we're seeing.
What's a realistic timeline? And I'm going to ask you this in two different examples. If I want to bring over an employee to fill a specific role, what's that timeline? Or if I'm a family and I want to bring over a parent or a child to the U.S. legally, what are the timelines for those cases?
So it depends on the employer side, if you're trying to bring them as a green card holder or a permanent resident, or if you're just trying to bring them on like a temporary, like non-immigrant visa. So the long-term permanent resident process does take at least a few years, I would say. At least depends on which category you're in and things like that, but about a few years. On the family-based side, I would say, depending on what country they're from, around 2 years. So
Wow.
Yeah, everything takes time. So it's important to plan ahead, is what I would tell people.
On the family side, what's the success rate percentage-wise?
Pretty good. unless there's some criminal issue or previous immigration history in the U.S. that could delay things a little bit more. But
So absent anything bad in the person's background, it's pretty good.
mhm, yeah,
So one thing that comes very clearly through your website is your emphasis on communication and making clients feel supported throughout the process. I know
yes.
immigration can be overwhelming. How do you build trust with clients? I mean, this is a very stressful time in their life. How do you make that better?
That's $1 million question, literally. Communication and doing good work is always something. I've been around the San Diego in my own practice in the San Diego area for over 10 years, 11, 12 years now. So I think I've kind of built a reputation, and so our clients are comfortable referring business, referring their friends and family. So that helps, right? I haven't been moving around. I'm in the same office. Again, have a good reputation with my folks, and we like to keep our clients, treat them like people. We are, for example, having a movie night next week together for our closer clients. Close 60 people are coming to a movie night, and we're going to provide popcorn and some snacks, and we're going to watch a movie together. Those little things I feel go a long way. We try to write handwritten thank you notes and congratulations notes to them when they pass their exam or get their green cards. We check in on them, make sure, like I said, kind of the holistic view. Now that you have your green card, what's next? Are you going to buy a house? Do you need a mortgage broker? Do you need somebody that I know and like and trust that I can send your way to help you with that? So we really do care about our clients in that sense.
So of the 60, are they current or former clients?
They're a mix of current and former.
I imagine that leads to a lot of referrals. That's an awesome, I won't call it a strategy because I'm sure that you really care about them, but it's an effective tool to get more referrals.
That wasn't how it started. I just wanted to give them a thank you
Mm-hmm.
for referring, right? And having a little movie night, and it's no big deal. I'm happy to do it. But yeah, it could lead to referrals.
Now, I want you to imagine for a second that I'm a second or third year law student.
Okay.
And what would you tell me coming out of law school about going into immigration and eventually starting my own firm?
Don't do it. No.
I get a lot of PI attorneys that say the same thing. I would never get into this.
Think again. No. Gosh. I think just that, what you said, how do you get people to trust you? That's the big question, right? There's a lot of fraud out there for sure in the immigration world. And how do you just make sure you do good work, you keep on top of things, and you communicate and keep learning, right? Things are changing all the time. Keep learning and care about them. They're human.
So if you were all knowing and we put you in charge of US immigration and
Ooh.
everything that you said would happen, how would you fix the system for it to be more efficient?
Oh my goodness. How do we fix it? That's a beast. The laws need to be updated. Let's be honest. I think fraud in the amount of $10,000 at this point is an aggravated felony, which is like you can never immigrate to the U.S. $10,000 these days is nothing, right? When it was written in the 90s, maybe it was a little more. So
What kind of fraud? Like I wrote a bad check, or what are you talking about?
any kind of fraud, theft of over
Okay.
$10,000 you're banned forever and ever. There's no way around it. So I think that's a little harsh. I mean, $10,000 again back in the 90s is different from what it's worth now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, some of the process for sponsoring an employee, for example, is archaic. As an example, we still need to advertise a job in a Sunday newspaper, a paper newspaper, which nobody has papers anymore. It's you get your news elsewhere now. No, like you look for jobs not in the Sunday paper, but you look for jobs online or so those little things of course need to be
Right.
updated at the very least. I mean, if we're not talking huge big picture overhaul, let's just kind of, bring it to the 21st century.
So, of course, neither political party has the will or the want to reform immigration because it's better that they can argue about it. So, if you were going to handicap immigration reform, what percentage of success would you give it?
At the
Not
moment,
very
very
likely.
low. Yeah, not likely. It'd be nice.
Huh. It would be nice. We,
It would
we,
be
we
nice.
need to, I think about this all the time that I would love to, I don't care what party they're from, but we need a set of politicians that can bring us together. And I'll get off my soapbox here.
No, I agree with you there.
So, how do you charge for what you do? Is it hourly, fixed fee? How do you do it?
It's a fixed flat fee.
Okay, and that's helpful to your client base because they know what they're going to spend regardless of what it takes. Anything
Hmm.
change that if it gets a little more difficult?
Generally not.
Okay. So what we do is we act as virtual CFOs and do the finance department for law firms, and we do a subscription-based fee. So it's fixed fee, you know what you're going to spend, but we track our time because that's the only way we know how to job cost it to see if we're charging the right amount
Yes.
for the product.
Yes.
Do you track time?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. There's a lot of fixed fee attorneys that don't believe in tracking time.
I know. I started doing that last year and it's a life game changer.
Right. It can tell you if you need to adjust your price or make your processes a little more efficient.
Hmm.
Hey, so before we wrap up, I want to ask
Hmm.
you something a little bit off the wall. I am
Okay.
actually going to San Diego in October for a conference and I'll be there a whole week. So, as a never been to San Diego, I'm sure the weather will be wildly different. No, it's always the same. Um,
72 and sunny.
and low humidity, right?
Yeah.
Can you give me a recommendation or two for your favorite restaurant that's not touristy and kind of off the beaten path?
Yes. I hope you have a car or you can take a taxi, I guess. But there is a taco shop called TJ Oyster Bar, and they're in Bonita, and they have the best smoked tuna tacos.
Really? Okay. And
Smoked tuna is
what's
their
it
thing.
called again? What's it called?
TJ Oyster Bar.
Okay. I will check that out. I appreciate that.
So good.
So, Erin, thank you so much for being on here. If folks want to get a hold of you, how can they reach out?
Yeah, just give us a call. You can text or call 760-705-3676. Again, you can just call or text that number, or you can email us info@erinjlee.com.
And I assume you're on LinkedIn as well?
Yes, yes. And we are on most of the social medias. Our handle is Abogada Lee.
Erin, thank you again for joining us. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning into Judicial Dollars and Cents, where the business of law meets the practice of law. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Better yet, share this episode with another law firm leader who could benefit from today's discussion. Our mission is simple: to help law firm owners build stronger businesses, better serve their clients, and create firms that thrive for generations. Until next time, I'm John Scott with Anders Virtual CFO Services for Law Firms. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for joining us on Judicial Dollars and Cents, presented by Anders Virtual CFO Services. If you found value in today's conversation, be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcast. To learn more about how Anders helps law firms strengthen their financial foundations and drive growth, visit anderscpa.com. Until next time, keep making smart decisions that make perfect sense.